The restaurant was so loud that night you could feel the bass of other people's laughter in your chest. Every table packed, every candle lit, the air thick with perfume, champagne bubbles, and the kind of joy that only visits once a year. Outside on the cold sidewalk, a woman stood pressed against the glass, not in the way tourists do, curious and amused. She stood there the way people do when they're trying very hard not to cry in public. Her name was Claire, 34 years old. A 5-year-old daughter named Mia tucked against her side, clutching a stuffed rabbit that had seen better years. They were both dressed up. Claire in a green dress she'd worn to her office Christmas party 6 years ago, Mia in a red velvet thing that was already a size too small. They had a reservation, or they thought they did. "I'm sorry, ma'am," the host had said, barely looking up from his podium. "We don't have anything under that name, and we're fully committed for the evening. But I booked weeks ago. I have the confirmation email. There's nothing I can do. Happy New Year." And just like that, the door had closed. Now Claire stood outside with Mia in the cold, a dinner reservation that no longer existed, and the quiet understanding that this was not just about a table. It was about all of it, the whole year, the whole weight of it. A man inside the restaurant glanced toward the window. He had been watching, the way you can't help but watch when someone is hurting and they don't know you can see them. He thought it was just one small thing he was about to do, but that one choice would change everything forever. If stories of kindness and second chances move you, stick around. And consider hitting like early. You'll want to be here for this one. His name was Marcus Webb, 41, broad-shouldered, a man who had learned how to take up less space than he actually occupied in any room. He worked in building maintenance for a mid-sized office complex downtown, the kind of job people look past when they're rushing to their desks in the morning. He fixed the things that broke, replaced the things that wore out, kept the invisible machinery of other people's days running without interruption. He was good at it. He took quiet pride in that. He had a daughter too, 7-year-old Lily, who was spending New Year's Eve with her grandmother across town while Marcus treated himself to a rare solo dinner out, a ritual he'd started 3 years ago after his wife, Dana, passed from a cardiac event that no one had seen coming. She'd been 38. She had been laughing at something on television, and then she wasn't. That was the part no one tells you about grief. It doesn't come at you in a single wave you can brace for. It comes in small, ordinary ambushes, in the smell of someone's shampoo at the grocery store, in a TV laugh track heard through a wall, in New Year's Eves that don't mean what they used to mean. He had booked this table weeks in advance, a corner spot with a candle and a view of the street. He'd ordered a glass of red wine he couldn't quite afford but didn't mind splurging on once a year. He had a book in his jacket pocket, a habit Dana had teased him about. "You'll read at our wedding someday," she'd said once. He had been fine mostly, and then he looked toward the glass. He saw the woman in the green dress. He saw the little girl with the rabbit. He saw the way the woman pressed one hand against her mouth. For just a moment, that gesture people make when they are holding something back and before straightening up and reaching down to take her daughter's hand. He recognized that gesture. He had made it himself. Standing in a hospital corridor at 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday, Marcus sat with his wine for a moment longer. The restaurant hummed around him. His corner table was set for one plate, one glass, one candle. He thought about staying. He had earned this. He had paid for this. And then he thought about Lily. The way she looked at him. Sometimes with this complete and total trust, the kind of faith children place in their parents that is almost frightening and how unconditional it is. He thought, what would I want someone to do if that were us? He raised his hand. The waiter came over and Marcus said quietly, "Could you go outside and invite that woman and her daughter in? Tell them there's a table for them." The waiter blinked. "Sir, we're fully." "Tell them my table." A pause. The waiter looked at him, then at the window, then back at Marcus. "Of course," he said. Marcus asked for his bill to be transferred to a two-top, helped the busboy reset the corner nook, and moved himself to a stool at the small bar near the kitchen. No one noticed. No one was watching. A couple nearby was too deep in a toast. The table behind him was mid-argument about something affectionate. The world was doing what it always does, spinning on its own axis, indifferent. He didn't do it to be seen. He did it because the alternative, sitting in a warm restaurant while a woman and her little girl stood in the cold on the last night of the year, was something he simply couldn't do. Claire didn't believe the waiter at first. Someone gave up their table for us. She looked past him into the restaurant, scanning for the prank, the catch, the other shoe waiting to drop. Yes, ma'am. Right this way. Mia, who had no concept of suspicion yet, was already pulling her mother through the door. They were seated at the corner table, candle lit, menus placed with ceremony. Mia pressed her rabbit against the window and narrated something to it in a low, private voice. Claire sat across from her and let out a breath that had been held for a very long time. She asked the waiter who had done this. He nodded toward the bar. Marcus was pretending to study the drink menu with great interest. Claire hesitated. Then she got up. "Excuse me," she said, stopping beside him. Did you give us your table?" He looked up, brown eyes calm and a little tired. The face of someone who had been through something and come out the other side carrying it quietly. "It's just a table," he said. "I eat alone fine anywhere." She stopped, started again. "Thank you. Genuinely. Tonight has been—" She shook her head. "It means more than you know." He nodded once, turned back to the menu. She returned to Mia. 10 minutes passed. Then the waiter appeared at Marcus's elbow. The woman at the corner table asks if you'd like to join them. She says, and I'm quoting here, "It's just a table, but there's room for 3. He smiled at that. He actually smiled. Mia approved of Marcus immediately and without reservation, the way small children sometimes do with people who are genuinely good. She showed him the rabbit, named Captain, for reasons she explained. At length, and informed him that Captain was also very hungry and would need a bread roll. Claire watched her daughter and this quiet stranger and felt, for the first time in a long time, something she almost didn't recognize, ease. It started, as most real things do, slowly. They exchanged numbers that night. Claire's idea, framed as a thank you in case you ever need anything, Marcus had said okay in that understated way he had, like he wasn't entirely sure what he was agreeing to, but it felt right. She texted 2 days later. Mia drew you a picture of Captain. Would it be weird to send it? It was not weird. He taped it to his refrigerator. They met for coffee the following Saturday, at a place near the park, while Mia ran laps around the fountain and Captain supervised from a bench. It wasn't a date. Neither of them called it that, and neither of them was ready for it to be. It was just 2 people sitting across from each other, recognizing something familiar. "You lost someone," Claire said at one point. "Not a question. My wife 3 years ago." He wrapped both hands around his mug. "Lily was 4. Claire was quiet for a moment. "My husband didn't die. He just left. Which is different, but sometimes I think grief is grief regardless of the reason. You still wake up one day and the shape of your life is completely wrong." Marcus looked at her. "Yeah," he said. "That's exactly it." Over the following weeks, they fell into a rhythm the way people do when they stop trying to engineer things and just let them happen. Shared dinners after park outings. Lily and Mia meeting for the first time on a rainy afternoon. 2 small girls sizing each other, up with the frank assessment only children can get away with. Before Lily said, "Does Captain like superheroes?" And the matter was settled. There were hard moments too. Marcus's building cut his hours in February. Budget reorganization, the manager had said, with the particular awkwardness of someone who knows an explanation doesn't fix anything. He didn't tell Claire right away. Pride is a strange thing. It makes you protect people from information that might actually bring them closer. She found out anyway. Lily mentioned it casually, the way children mention everything that matters, without any sense of consequence. Claire showed up the next evening with dinner and didn't make a single comment about the situation except, "I know what it's like to feel like the floor has dropped out. You don't have to be fine right now." He wasn't fine. He let her know that. And somehow, saying it out loud to someone who wasn't going to panic about it made it more bearable. The warmth between them grew in the way warmth does when it is not forced. Quietly, room by room, until one day it simply occupied the whole house. It happened on a Thursday evening in early April, the kind of evening where the light lasts longer than it should and everything feels slightly suspended. They were at the park again. Lily and Mia were at the swings. Marcus and Claire were on a bench, talking about nothing in particular, which is to say, talking about everything that mattered. Claire mentioned offhandedly that she'd been offered a job in another city. Better pay, better hours, fresh start. Are you going to take it? Marcus asked. A long pause. The swings went back and forth. I don't know, she said. There are reasons to stay. He looked at her. She looked at him. They had been doing this for months now, circling something that neither of them had named yet out of carefulness, out of respect for how much they both had already survived. Claire. He said her name the way people say names when they mean something larger. I don't want you to go. Marcus, I know that's not a fair thing to say. I know you have your own life to build. But I'm saying it because I think you should know where I stand before you. Decide. He looked down at his hands. I haven't stood anywhere in a long time. Not like this. She reached over and covered his hands with hers. I'm not going, she said simply. I think I just needed to hear that. From the swings, Mia shouted, Mom. Lily says Captain can be in the wedding. They both laughed, sudden and full, the kind of laugh that breaks open something that has been closed for a very long time. She's 7, Marcus said, still laughing. She's not wrong, Claire said. The wedding, when it came, was small. A backyard in June. Lily and Mia in matching dresses. They had picked themselves. A negotiation that had taken 3 separate trips to 3 separate stores. Captain was present, seated in a small chair between the 2 girls with a bow tie that Mia had fashioned from a hair ribbon. Marcus stood at the front, watching Claire walk toward him through the scattered light of late afternoon, and thought about all the doors that lead to other doors. The closed door of a restaurant on New Year's Eve. The door of his grief, which he had not fully closed but had finally learned to leave ajar. The door of this, whatever this was, this ordinary, extraordinary life. His toast was short. He was not a man who needed many words. Someone once told me that kindness is what you do when no one is watching, he said. I'm not sure I believe that anymore. I think someone is always watching. I think Claire was watching. And I think that's how we got here. They moved into a house together that fall. A yellow house on a quiet street with a porch wide enough for 4, and a yard that needed work, and a refrigerator that had 2 drawings on it now. Captain, and a crayon family portrait Lily had made that included, very specifically, a rabbit in a bow tie. On New Year's Eve of that year, they did not go to a restaurant. They stayed home. They made a mess of the kitchen together, and ate at 11 and watched the countdown with the girls, and somewhere in the noise of it, in the warmth and the clutter, and the small familiar chaos of people who belonged to each other. Marcus put his arm around Claire and felt, simply and completely, like himself. Kindness isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself or wait for applause. It's what you do in the small, unseen moment, when you notice someone outside in the cold and you make a choice that costs you almost nothing but means everything to them. Marcus didn't change Claire's life with a grand gesture. He gave up a corner table and a quiet dinner. That's all. And from that single, ordinary act of seeing someone, really seeing them, 2 lives found their way back to wholeness. There is always someone watching. Not to judge you, not to reward you, but because the world is full of people who are paying quiet attention, hoping to see that goodness is still real. It is. You just proved it by watching this story to the end. If this story touched your heart, like the video right now, drop a comment. Have you ever been on either side of a moment like this? Have you given something small that turned into something enormous or received it? Share this with someone who needs a reminder that the world still holds good people. Subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a story like this one. And hey, where are you watching from today?